Welcome back to the Fish Files. I am going to go over today one of my favorite community fish, Pterophyllum scalare, or the angelfish. And at the end, I want to do a little experiment qualifying how angelic this species really is in a community tank. But before that, I want to cover this fish. It's a beautiful fish. Technically, it's in the cichlid family, but it looks so different than your typical South American and African cichlid that it really is its own family. On the extreme side, we have wild angels. Wild fish angels are caught in basically Colombia and Peru. You get a few from Brazil, but why? It's expensive to ship them and they're the same variety, with the exception of Altum angels. Altum angels, there's several different variations. If you need to know all the variations, you need to refer to one of Heiko Blair's blogs or books. But I think there's like 26 different variations of Altum angels. I don't have any today. That's a holy grail of fish keeping, but people are getting better and better at keeping them. They just went out of season. That's why I don't have them. They're wild caught. I don't know anyone who successfully domestically breeds them on a commercial scale. They are exported from Indonesia, but they are caught in the wild, shipped to Indonesia and raised up. But these fish need, and you can be successful with them, they need, and producer, can you show a picture while I'm doing this? Okay, perfect. Because I'm starting with the wildest of angels, and then we're going to work our way to domestic bred angels. These guys just need about 6.5 pH. They need low pH, they need warm water, and very clean water. If you can provide them that, and say live brine shrimp or Daphnia, they'll thrive in your fish tank. But they're for experts only, because all that sounds easy, it's not easy. All right, so let's go with the fish you normally find in the aquarium store. And I want to start with the common wild angel. Wild angel is also the domestically bred angelfish. It's called the silver angel. And silver angel is a black-banded, silver-bodied angelfish. These ones come from Peru. A lot of people call them Peruvian altums. They're not Pterophyllum altum, they're Pterophyllum scalare. And these guys are one of my favorite fish because they have beautiful bright orange eyes, they have bold black stripes, and they are very, very hardy. They will breed in your fish tank. They can tolerate temperatures down to 72 degrees and up to discus temperatures, 85, 86 degrees. They eat flakes, and you can also feed them live foods if that's your preference. But I think this is a perfect fish to start our little show with. You can tell the males, males usually have a bigger, stronger forehead. These are juveniles, obviously, so you're not gonna be able to sex these guys. Also, they have a more prominent dorsal fin, but again, juveniles, and most of these fish I have are going to be juveniles wholesale. We ship them about this size generally to pet stores. They're a very affordable fish too, and they will live for several years in your fish tank. And if you can breed them, their generations will live with your grandchildren. So this is the Pterophyllum scalare silver angelfish. If you like any of these fish in the show, make sure you just go get them at your local aquarium store, or if you can't find them there, try out aquariumfish.com. Now we're going on to an extreme variation of the angelfish. Oh, by the way, angelfish are called angelfish because of their shape, and the same reason for the saltwater angelfish. These guys, no species relationship between the two. But angelfish have long, elongated dorsal fins and ventral fins, and so when they turn sideways, the Wikipedia will say they closely resemble an angel. You have to have an imagination, but that's why they're called angelfish. Now, here is an interesting, very hybridized species. This is the albino angelfish. And the albino angelfish has pink eyes. All fish that are albino have pink eyes and a pink body. And as they grow older, what makes these guys really pretty is they get little blue highlights. And some breeders have gotten more blue in them than others. It's really hard to tell at this size. They do have blue pigment in there, but you really have to look closely to see any of it. But these are albino angelfish. And when they get big, they're really a magnificent looking fish. But remember, the more you breed a fish or any species, the weaker it gets. It gets more removed and more removed from its natural gene pool. And so it's more resistant to disease. So these guys would never exist in the wild. But in your aquarium, as long as you change your filter and keep your water clean, they'll do just fine. Here's another highly bred angelfish. This is called the Bulgarian seal point angel. Originally, supposedly bred in Bulgaria. When the Iron Curtain was up and people couldn't just import fish from around the world, they had to become expert breeders. That's why some fantastic strains came from that period of history. So that's one thing good about communism. But you got the Bulgarian seal point angelfish. And obviously seal point, S-E-A-L, because of the dark seal colored dorsal fin. And if you got a good species, good breeder, you get dark, solid seal colored finnage all the way around the fish. And in this case, these have that. I can't get them often. Domestic breeders come up with some fantastic seal point angelfish, but they usually sell it directly to their local pet stores. So as a wholesaler, I don't have enough time to get it from them, mark it up, and sell it to a pet store. So if you can find these in the pet store, they're probably directly from a breeder. In this case, I was able to get a nice shipment from overseas breeder at a reasonable cost. But in general, when you find them in the store, it's probably from a local breeder, and they are a very hardy, fantastic fish for the aquarium. And you're lucky to find them, though. They're hard to find in the trade. Now we're going through different variations of the angelfish. I want to show basically a different finnage structure, because you have color and then you have fin structure. The fin structure in angelfish, basically you have your basic angelfish, basic fins, really long, beautiful fish. But you also have what's called a veiltail angelfish. And veiltail angelfish, you can have gold, you can have Bulgarian seal point, you can have black angels. I'm going to show you basically a koi variation and a full black variation of the veiltail angelfish, so you can see the difference. The rest of the angelfish I'm going to be showing you are regular fins, but these are called veiltail fins because they're really long and flowing. Question, why don't you want veiltail angelfish all the time? Well, for one reason, veiltail angelfish are, I mentioned breeding, they're one step more bred than regular fins. So they're one step weaker than regular finned angelfish. They open themselves up to flukes, to ick, to velvet. Velvet is a big problem with angelfish, particularly very heavily bred angelfish. You'll see that when you see it like a white powdery coating on the angelfish and they start wasting away. If that happens, medicate them, do the best you can to try and turn them around. Most of the time you're going to lose them. But these guys don't have any velvet. These are some magnificent displays of veiltail angelfish, because you really will see the difference between, if you look at the full blacks in particular, you will see, because I'm going to put full black regular angelfish in next, you'll really see the finnage structure difference between the two. Okay, now for comparison, I'm going to put in the same fish in the regular fin structure. Regular fin angelfish versus veiltail angelfish, it may be a 30% price difference. Veiltails are more expensive, again, because they're more difficult to breed. A lot of time, if you want to breed your own veiltail angels, you breed angels, you look for the ones with the longest tails, you pull them out until you get a nice stock of veiltail producing angelfish. You're always going to get some regular fin angelfish from that, but that's one way to go about doing it. So these are full black and these are gold marbles. Gold marbles have a wide variation. Some of them are almost all black with a little gold. Some of them are almost solid gold with a little black. In this case, they were leaning towards that end of the spectrum. And full blacks start often with a little silver. They almost look like I have zebra lace to show you later, but they have like a dark silver black pattern. As they grow older, it does fill up and they get solid black. But in this case, these guys are starting out a nice solid black color, and they are clear as far as I can see of any imperfections. They're just regular fin. When you go to a pet store, look, if you're going to get full black angels or any angels, look for wasting. In other words, are there ribs showing? Or look for velvet or a white kind of slimy reflective color on them. That's indication of velvet, and you want to steer away from those particular items. And otherwise, though, they're a hardy fish. You just got to start out right. Once you start with a hardy angelfish, they usually stay a hardy angelfish, and they can live in your aquarium for 8 to 10 years. All right, I want to show a blue variant, two strains of angelfish that are fairly common in the pet store. One's called the blue Panoy angelfish, and Panoy just means Filipino because it was a breeder in the Philippines who originally came up with a really nice blue strained angelfish. And then the Indonesians later came up with a blue zebra angelfish, which really took advantage of the blue strain that's common in the wild species of angelfish and bred that into them. So as they get older, they develop more and more blue. It's mainly a highlight. It's not like a saltwater fish with a blue, deep blue color, but it's still very pretty. These guys, one's a little bigger than the other. These are the true blue Panoy angelfish. And the reason I'm putting them together, well, first, they're from the same breeder. Like discus, you got to be wary if you have a very enclosed tank of putting angelfish together from two different breeders, because they do naturally have different resistance to different diseases, so they can cross diseases. Discus are the most famous for that, but angelfish, if you have a small tank like this, if it wasn't from a same breeder, I would not be throwing them together at the same time. But these are the blue Panoy angelfish. You can see how if the front half of the angelfish is starting to get a blue sheen in there. And I'm going to add, by contrast, the blue zebras, which almost have no blue right now. They usually start at the edges of their fins and their foreheads in the case of the blue zebra angelfish. You'll see picture blue Panoys on Google. You'll see a lot of times people are pawning off blue Panoy angelfish, which are more expensive. They're selling blue zebra angelfish as blue Panoy. They're not. The blue Panoys are the larger ones, and the blue zebras are the smaller ones. Zebra because they have a striped pattern. Yeah, if you can just take a little closer look so you know in a pet store what you're getting for your money. All right, so how big do angelfish get? I have some nearly full-grown zebra lace angelfish here to show you. Now, the extreme is the ultim angel I've prefaced this whole show with. And the ultim angel has a body that, at full size, about the size of a palm, but its dorsal and ventral fins can go 12 inches up and 12 inches down. A magnificently huge and beautiful fish, but not one I have in the warehouse. So what I do have are some nearly full grown. They're going to get another ½ an inch in body size, but these are, and when you get full grown angelfish, and I don't deal with them as a wholesaler, I don't get breeders because you never know how old they are. I mean, they could be on their last legs, which means they're vulnerable. First, they're going to die soon, within a year, and they're very vulnerable to disease. These guys are a perfect age if you want a big angelfish. They're the size of probably a little kid's palm, plus the finnage. And when you talk about angelfish size, you talk about the body, because the fins are separate. There's dime size, nickel size, quarter size. I like to say small kid's hand size for a jumbo or extra large angelfish, which these are. And these are, the variation that these display are zebra lace angelfish. Now, when I was first growing up in the pet trade, the guy who wrote all their books was Herbert Axelrod. In the back of a lot of his books, he would have suggested community fish tanks. And he always had angelfish in those fish tanks. And a lot of them also recommended small neon tetras, cardinal tetras. So today, we're a little bit more sophisticated than that, I think. But I wanted to test Herbert Axelrod's, one of his community tanks, where you could mix angelfish with small community fish. So the purposes of this experiment, I don't want to add some small schooling fish or fancy paired guppies that are going to find a nice home. I'm going to try something that's a similar size fish, but its home is going to be in captivity with a large fish to be eaten. So I'm getting feeder guppies that are bred and inevitably will be used for this purpose. I'm going to see if these fish will form a community with them, or if they're not going to be so angelic. Like 2 minutes, we'll know if they'll do nothing or go crazy. They don't seem to be too hungry. Also, they don't like the water change.
Are you expecting them to eat?
Yes. Expecting them to eat the small guys. I introduced them into their tank out in the warehouse, and they would eat them. Well, that didn't get the results that I thought it would get. I thought for sure they would go after the small guppies, but they seem to be acclimating well to the tank and acclimating well to their new neighbors. I think mainly it's because they're just well fed. I wanted to show that angelfish aren't so angelic. If you put something, the large guppies are probably fine, but the small guppies, they are fine. They won't fit in their mouth. But the small guppies, eventually these guys are going to eat them. So if you're going to try and keep a small school with angelfish, keep them well fed, give a lot of room and a lot of hiding places, particularly plastic or live plants for your schooling fish. And then maybe they have a chance to survive like these guys. Dang, not a successful experiment. But I'm going to go take you to the tank where I pulled them from. We're going to feed them some feeder guppies, and doggone it, I'm going to see if these guys will eat something, because I want to show you how mean they can be. Another thing though, if you're fortunate enough for these angelfish to breed, and these are large enough to breed, you will see how territorial they are too. They defend those babies like nothing on earth is more precious. It's really amazing to see the paternal instincts of this particular species. Now, one reason they may not be feeding on these delectable small guppies is because I think we have, this might be a pair. What I think is the male has a more pronounced forehead than the shallower forehead, what I think is a female. But, you know, I won't know until they actually really pair up. So let's go show you some feeding though. I know these guys eat small fish. They've been eating all along. Someone put a whole bunch of feed, so they're just full.
Oh, rats.
So nothing's gonna happen. If it looks like if the tank's big enough and the angelfish are fed well enough, maybe Herbert Axelrod was right. You can keep angelfish, large ones, in a community fish tank with small schooling fish. That's good, because I love angelfish and I like small schooling fish. Thank you so much for sharing this magnificent species. I've been overplaying that word magnificent, but it's a magnificent word for this episode of angelfish. And I hope you give these angelfish a chance in your aquarium, unless you don't have an aquarium. If you don't have an aquarium, get an aquarium. And thank you for watching the Fish Files, and please subscribe. And if you can't find any of these fish in your local aquarium store, then you can find them at aquariumfish.com.